Books hold wisdom, but who has time for them all? That's where Books in Bites by Rehan comes in. Quick, engaging, and packed with key ideas.
Exactly.
So today we're diving into a book that tackles a universal quest.
Oh, yeah.
The Art of Happiness by the Dalai Lama. We're going to explore how ancient Buddhist wisdom blends with modern psychology to offer a path toward lasting happiness.
I think it's really fascinating how the Dalai Lama frames happiness, not just as a fleeting feeling, but as a state of being we can cultivate. It's not something we just kind of stumble upon. It's an art, something we can practice.
Yeah. I used to think happiness was all about external factors.
Oh, yeah.
Like, a great job, a loving partner, winning the lottery.
Oh, yeah.
But the Dalai Lama suggests it's more about our internal state.
Right.
He differentiates between, like, fleeting happiness, that rush you get from a sugary treat, versus a more enduring happiness.
Yeah.
A deeper sense of peace and contentment. He's saying we need to, build our happiness muscles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like training for a marathon, right?
Right.
You don't just wake up one day and run 26 miles.
Right.
It takes consistent effort,
Yeah.
discipline, practice.
Right.
The Dalai Lama emphasizes that we can train our minds, just like we train our bodies to cultivate those qualities that lead to genuine happiness.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
But what about when life throws us curveballs?
Oh, yeah.
We all experience negative emotions, anger, fear, anxiety.
For sure.
Things that can really, knock us off balance.
Yeah.
Does the Dalai Lama offer any guidance on how to deal with those inner demons?
He certainly does.
Okay.
He introduces practices like meditation and mindfulness, techniques drawn from, Buddhist tradition, to help us manage those difficult emotions.
Okay.
And instead of trying to suppress them, he suggests we learn to observe them without judgment.
Okay.
Understanding their root causes.
Right.
He even talks about a powerful meditation practice called Tonglen,
Okay.
where you visualize taking on the suffering of others and offering them your own happiness and peace.
Wow, Tonglen.
Yeah.
That sounds intense.
It is.
Imagine trying that during a heated argument.
Oh, yeah.
Or when you're facing a stressful deadline at work.
Right.
Could that really help us navigate those challenging situations?
The Dalai Lama argues that Tonglen, while challenging, can cultivate deep compassion and reduce our own suffering.
Interesting.
It's about shifting our perspective from self-centeredness to a genuine concern for the well-being of others.
Right.
He suggests that compassion, far from being a weakness, is actually the key to lasting happiness.
That really challenges the common notion that happiness is about focusing on ourselves.
Yeah.
About, pursuing our own pleasure and success. This idea that our happiness is interconnected with the happiness of others is truly fascinating.
It is.
What implications do you think this has for our relationships and how we interact with the world?
The Dalai Lama highlights the importance of nurturing healthy, positive relationships based on trust and compassion.
Okay.
He contrasts these with toxic relationships that drain our energy and contribute to our unhappiness.
Makes sense.
It's about making conscious choices about who we surround ourselves with.
Right.
Prioritizing those connections that bring us joy and support.
So it's like weeding a garden.
Oh, yeah.
Making space for the flowers to flourish.
Right.
Weeding out those relationships that don't serve us.
Exactly.
So that we can cultivate the ones that truly nourish our well-being.
I like that.
It's about taking responsibility for our own happiness.
Yeah.
Recognizing that we have the power to choose who we let into our lives.
Absolutely. And it's about recognizing that our, happiness is not solely determined by external factors, but by our internal state, by the choices we make about how we perceive and respond to the world around us.
That reminds me of another powerful concept the Dalai Lama discusses.
Yeah.
It's like the idea that our thoughts and perceptions directly shape our reality.
Oh.
It's not about trying to change our circumstances, but changing how we view them.
Yeah.
He suggests that we often create our own suffering by clinging to negative thoughts and beliefs.
He emphasizes the importance of cultivating a more positive and constructive mindset.
Okay.
Practicing gratitude.
Right.
Focusing on the good in our lives. He even talks about reframing challenges as opportunities for growth. Seeing setbacks as stepping stones.
Yeah.
On the path to greater wisdom and understanding.
That's a really powerful shift in perspective.
Yeah, it is.
It's like instead of focusing on the clouds, We choose to focus on the sunshine.
Right.
We don't ignore the challenges, but we approach them with a more optimistic and resilient attitude.
Exactly.
Like he's saying that happiness is not about avoiding the storms, but learning to dance in the rain.
I love that analogy.
Right. Yeah. But, the Dalai Lama doesn't shy away from the fact that life is full of challenges and uncertainties.
Oh, for sure.
And he introduces this concept of the wisdom of acceptance.
Okay.
It's about acknowledging that there are things in life we can't control.
Right.
And finding peace in that reality.
Yeah.
It's not about giving up or becoming passive.
No.
But rather about letting go of the struggle against what is.
Right.
That sounds a bit paradoxical.
Okay.
How can we actively cultivate happiness while also accepting things we can't change?
Right.
Doesn't that contradict the idea of taking responsibility for our own well-being?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Acceptance is not about resignation.
Right.
It's about recognizing what is true in this moment and responding with wisdom and clarity. It's about focusing our energy on what we can control, our thoughts, our actions, our choices, rather than wasting it on fighting against the inevitable.
So it's like that serenity prayer.
Oh, yeah.
Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change.
Yeah.
The courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Absolutely.
The Dalai Lama is essentially saying that true peace and happiness come from aligning ourselves with reality rather than resisting it.
Exactly.
And from that place of acceptance,
Yeah.
we can respond to challenges with more grace, compassion, and even humor.
He does talk about that.
Yeah.
The Dalai Lama, despite facing immense personal and political challenges, has this incredible ability to find joy and laughter.
Yeah.
In even the most difficult situations.
That's true.
He reminds us that humor is a powerful antidote to suffering.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's about finding that sweet spot between taking life seriously and not taking ourselves too seriously.
Right.
It's about cultivating a lightheartedness. That allows us to navigate the ups and downs with more ease and resilience.
For sure.
But the Dalai Lama also emphasizes that true happiness goes beyond fleeting pleasures.
Yeah.
He talks about the importance of living a meaningful life, of connecting with something larger than ourselves.
He suggests that meaning often comes from aligning our actions with our values.
Oh.
With what truly matters to us. It could be through our relationships, our work, our creative pursuits, or our contributions to the world around us.
Yeah.
It's about finding a sense of purpose in what we do.
Right.
A feeling that our lives have significance and value.
That really resonates with me.
Yeah.
It's not about achieving some, grand goal or changing the world in some dramatic way.
Right.
But about finding that sense of purpose in our everyday lives.
Exactly.
It could be as simple as being a loving parent, a supportive friend, a dedicated volunteer, or even just bringing a smile to someone's face.
Right.
It's about recognizing that even small acts of kindness and compassion can have a ripple effect, creating positive change in the world around us. And that in itself can bring a deep sense of meaning and fulfillment.
Absolutely.
It's like that saying, be the change you want to see in the world.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have to wait for someone else to create a better world.
Right.
We can start by cultivating those qualities of kindness, compassion, and wisdom within ourselves.
I agree.
But this idea of personal growth and transformation can feel daunting.
It can.
Does the Dalai Lama offer any practical advice on how we can cultivate these qualities in our daily lives?
He stresses the importance of self-reflection.
Okay.
Of taking time to examine our thoughts, motivations, and behaviors.
Right.
He encourages us to develop a more mindful awareness of our inner world, noticing those automatic negative thought patterns and gently challenging them.
Okay.
He suggests that by becoming more aware of our own minds, we can start to make more conscious choices about how we think, feel, and act.
That's so important.
Yeah.
It's about taking ownership of our inner world.
Right.
Recognizing that we have the power to shape our thoughts and beliefs rather than being controlled by them. It's about cultivating that inner observer who can witness our thoughts and emotions without judgment, allowing us to respond with greater wisdom and clarity.
I see.
But how do we actually go about cultivating that mindfulness in our busy, often chaotic lives?
The Dalai Lama suggests incorporating simple practices into our daily routines,
Okay.
such as meditation, mindful breathing exercises, or even just taking a few moments each day to pause and connect with the present moment. He encourages us to approach these practices with a sense of playfulness and experimentation, finding what works best for us.
That's reassuring.
It is.
It's not about adding another item to our to-do list.
Right.
But about finding small, manageable ways
to
integrate mindfulness into our everyday lives.
Exactly.
It could be as simple as paying attention to our breath while we're washing the dishes, noticing the sensations of our feet on the ground as we walk, or savoring the taste of each bite of food we eat. It's about bringing a greater awareness and presence to the simple everyday moments of our lives.
Exactly. And these small moments of mindfulness can have a profound impact on our overall well-being. By cultivating a more mindful awareness of ourselves and the world around us, we can start to shift our perspective, develop greater compassion, and find a deeper sense of peace and happiness.
It's like we're training our minds to become more attuned to the beauty and wonder that already exists in our lives.
Oh, yeah.
To appreciate the simple things that we often take for granted. It's about cultivating a sense of gratitude for what we have, rather than constantly striving for more.
Right.
The Dalai Lama seems to be saying that true happiness is not about acquiring more things, but about appreciating what we already have.
I think that's a really important point. And it's about recognizing that happiness is not a destination, but a journey.
Right.
It's a continuous process of learning, growing, and evolving. It's about embracing the ups and downs of life with grace, resilience, and a sense of humor.
So the Dalai Lama offers a powerful roadmap to happiness, a path that requires conscious effort, self-reflection, and a willingness to step outside of our comfort zones.
Yes.
It's about cultivating those qualities of inner peace, compassion, and wisdom that allow us to navigate the challenges of life with greater ease and joy.
Exactly.
But he also reminds us that it's a journey, not a destination.
Absolutely.
And that we're all works in progress.
We are.
Yeah, it sounds like the Dalai Lama is offering us not just like a set of beliefs, but a practical toolkit for living a happier, more meaningful life.
Absolutely. And what's so inspiring is that he presents these ancient wisdom teachings in a way that feels accessible and relevant to our modern lives. He doesn't shy away from addressing the challenges we face in today's world.
Right.
The stress, the anxiety, the constant barrage of information.
Yeah, he doesn't just tell us to go meditate on a mountaintop and all our problems will disappear.
Right.
He acknowledges the reality of our daily struggles and offers tools to navigate them with more grace and resilience.
And perhaps most importantly, he emphasizes that happiness is not some elusive goal we need to chase, but a state of being we can cultivate from within. It's not about waiting for the perfect circumstances, but about making the choice to find joy and meaning in the present moment, regardless of our external reality.
That idea of choice really resonates with me. It's empowering to think that we have more control over our own happiness than we often realize.
We do.
But what about when things are really tough? When we're facing loss, grief, or significant challenges? Does the Dalai Lama suggest we just put on a happy face and pretend everything is okay?
Not at all. He acknowledges that suffering is a part of life. That we all experience pain and heartbreak. But he suggests that even in the midst of suffering, we can find moments of peace, connection, and even growth. It's about learning to embrace the full spectrum of human experience. The good and the bad, with compassion and understanding.
So it's not about denying or suppressing our difficult emotions, but about learning to hold them with a sense of gentleness and acceptance.
Exactly.
It's about recognizing that even in the darkest of times, there is still light to be found.
There is.
And he reminds us that we don't have to go through these challenges alone. He emphasizes the importance of seeking support from others, of connecting with loved ones, or even seeking guidance from a spiritual teacher or therapist.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, we often try to tough it out on our own, but there's strength and vulnerability in reaching out for help when we need it.
Absolutely.
We're not meant to go through life in isolation.
And by connecting with others, we tap into that universal human experience of joy and sorrow, love and loss. We realize that we're not alone in our struggles.
Well, after this deep dive, I'm feeling inspired to look at happiness not as a destination, but as a journey, a practice. It's not about achieving some perfect state of bliss, but about cultivating those qualities, inner peace, compassion, wisdom, that allow us to live with more joy, meaning, and resilience.
And remember, it's a process, not a destination.
Right.
There will be ups and downs, moments of joy and moments of despair. But by incorporating some of the practices and perspectives we've discussed today, we can start to shift our relationship with happiness, moving away from that constant pursuit and toward a more gentle acceptance of ourselves and the world around us.
This has been such a rich and insightful exploration of the art of happiness.
It has.
Expert speakers, there's one key takeaway you hope our listener will ponder after this deep dive.
You know, I think the most powerful message is that happiness is a choice, a skill we can all cultivate. It's not something that happens to us. It's something we create through our thoughts, actions, and relationships.
And to you, dear listener, we leave you with this question.
Okay.
What one small step can you take today to bring more happiness into your life?
That's a good one.
Maybe it's practicing a few minutes of mindfulness, reaching out to a loved one, or simply taking a moment to appreciate the beauty around you. Remember, happiness is a journey, not a destination. Enjoy the ride. Until next time, keep diving deep.